Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today in this video we are going to learn about MCP, which is Model Context Protocol, and I'm pretty sure that you must have seen maybe 10 plus videos on the same topic. So I'm going to explain the same in a little different manner. I'm going to show you and make sure that you understand the use case, that why we have to develop MCP, so that not only by definition you actually understand what it is. And I'm going to keep it very easy so that anyone can genuinely just understand this, even if you have no idea about Python, about any framework. But once you understand the same, you will surely be able to then use this or use MCP with the understanding at different let's say frameworks or wherever you want. So with that, now let's start with the same. As you can see on my screen, MCP, Model Context Protocol. And because I have been using it for a very long time, I can just easily write easiest explanation. So let's see that how it goes. Now, let me just change the font and should be fine. Great. So with that, let's now first try to pick up this term, which is your MCP. Okay. So MCP, let's try to understand and break the same. The very first thing here is something known as model, right? So that's the very first term. When we talk about model, I think that now all of us have used Chat GPT, right? That is somewhere like Google of AI. I would like to think about that. So model is just something which we can talk about. Now we are already aware about Chat GPT. You can go and start a new chat with your Chat GPT instance. So if I go on Google, let's say 1 minute, and I search for say Chat GPT here, we can go and shortly just start our chat right away. Okay, so be it incognito window or anyway, we can just easily go and start with the same. Now, let's try to understand that where or what exactly this model is. We were doing pretty great till I think 22 December, I guess, when ChatGPT was kind of introduced. People were able to see that how good it is, and it kind of revolutionized everything after that. So for the last 2 to 3 years, everything we are listening has been on AI. If company hires, that is in AI. If company fires, that is in AI, right? So let's first quickly understand what ChatGPT is in a long run, right? So ChatGPT is something which is known as a large language model. So it should be written LLM, right? So at its core, ChatGPT is just a large language model. And let me make it in white so that it is easier for understanding. Let us have the stroke in black. And we can write LLM here so that it is able to understand what we are trying to say. Large language model. Okay. Now, next thing is that at the end of the day, it is just a black box. So any LLM, it is just a black box, right? So I could just say that it is also a black box. And this I can say in white. So black box. It tries to just predict what the next word is going to be. So for example, if I just give it a input and I give it and I expect an output, in a very simple sense, it is just the next word predictor. So if I say hi, it is going to say hi Mayank, right? Then let's say I will send this hi Mayank, or like internally it will have this hi Mayank. Then it will be having the next word predicted as hi Mayank. Let's say how, right? I'm taking punctuation also in this. Then this will be the next input, and it will go out and it will be how are. Similarly, this process will continue and we are able to get our final answer. So this is in backend in a very easy to understand manner what your LLM, ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, all of these things do, right? So this is regarding your model, which we have used and we are pretty good now in using that. Pretty sure that in Windows we have the Copilot integrated. You have used the same. Let's now talk about what was one shortcoming with this particular approach. So first I can write it just a next word or token predictor, right? Now the problem which arises everyone is something like this, which I will write in red here, that it is just can only produce text and can just do that only, right? So for example, if I just try to explain you, can write a message, but you have to send it. It can give you an email, but you have to compose and send it. And I'm just talking about before like MCP was there. Now I know that ChatGPT and other are becoming smarter, but you will understand that why and how they are becoming smarter as well, right? It can give you a code, but expected that you will copy and run it. So this is the whole idea till now, that yes, ChatGPT and all these LLMs, they are pretty good. So model context protocol, model thing which we are picking up, it is all good, not a problem. But they can just do these things. But the problem is that we are more lazy. So I would like to say we are more lazy and want that it is able to not only produce but do the next step, right? So this is the overall understanding, everyone, that as of now, our LLM, the model, it can give us the output based on our input, but we were using that output at some places, right? It was not that we asked the output, maybe we were using it for work or something. Let's say if I ask it to write an email, I have to send that email as well. Okay. That is where the overall use case of tool come into picture. So we thought that, okay, if somehow I can pick up this whole flow and I can provide this particular LLM. So if I can provide this particular LLM, 1 minute, with some tool, or let's say number of tools, let me just copy it and make it down. Yeah. So if I can just provide it with some tools, or rather I would like to say number of tools, it can surely do lots of things better for us, right? A very good example of tool is it if you give it the capability of searching, right? If you just somehow say that, hey, if you want, let's say, who won the last IPL, let's say if I ask it, who won the last IPL, then it will be able to give me the answer by Google. So it can search this information, and then based on that information, it can give me the answer. So this is again the simple approach, and I think it is very logical. You want that your LLM, it can give you the result on the latest things, but it doesn't have that information because ChatGPT, like let's say 4.0 or some model, it was trained up to say 2014 September. So it has no idea how to move forward with that. Just like let's say if you don't have any idea about MCP, you will not have that context, but you know about coding. So I give you this context. This video is kind of a context for you. YouTube is a tool on which you are watching this video. So this is where the role of context come into picture. We provide tools as a context to our model so that they can do their work better. This is a pretty easy understanding. A very good tool can be just a Google search, right? So our LLM, it can connect to Google and do a Google search. Now we can have multiple such tools as well. So for example, I have one search, one tool for Google. Then I have 1 minute. Then I have one tool, let's say for email. And then I have one tool, let's say for some Google Maps or something, right? So just to find information and everything. And frankly, you can just write a simple function. Okay, I will just show you an example as well. So let's say this is one of the code I've written. Now don't get any scared with the code. This is just a code which helps to search the web. So you send search web, you just send the query, let's say IPL, and it will give you the latest IPL results, right? Or NBA or any other league or any other information. It will get that result for you, right? So, with this understanding clear that yes, if you can make your overall LLM smarter with tools, it will be able to better help you. So, instead of me asking every time that, hey, give me the email ID, sorry, give me the email response for this, which all of us, I guess, now do, it can go a step further and give you, and it can send the email as well. So this is where I believe we are just advancing, making our LLM a lot more advanced, right? So this is just the basic understanding that how our LLM, we made sure that they are more advanced and are able to use tools. Now, this tool in a way, it is not anything that it is just tools. We can have prompts, we can have any other thing as well, and that is going to work totally fine. So there are multiple different contexts which we can provide. So with the model thing clear, let me pick up the next word, which is your context, right? Which we are thinking about. I have given you the idea from tools, but we can have prompts, we can have data. All these things can also be the context. Now, if I define context, let's say, and I guess all of you will understand, parts of something written or spoken that immediately proceed and follow a word or clarify its meaning, or in context, considering together with surrounding words or circumstances. So, using this Google search tool, it can just get that, okay, what is the latest news, and it can provide me a better result. Using the email tool, it can send the email directly, it can give me the summary of my emails. Using the maps tools, it can maybe tell me the ways, etc. Just like how we human being use tool, we have calculator which we use, we have phone we use, we have any application which we use. So all of those are tools for me. Similarly, my LLM has different sets of tool so that it can use that. So up till now, just application based, no definition, nothing, right? Now let's move forward and try to understand next what can the problem arise. Okay. So for that, I would also like to go and show you the website of LLM, MCP. And this is the definition which is normally given to explain MCP, right? Now, I believe this is one of the best and the worst definition. Okay, now, Mayank, why best? The best because it is very good for anyone who understands complex things. Anyone who understands that, okay, think of MCP like a USB-C port for AI application. Just as USB-C provides a standard way to connect your devices to various peripheral and accessories. So this is the definition which you will see someone giving who genuinely have less idea. So pretty good for anyone who understand it. Worst for anyone who have no idea, right? So let's forget this application and let's move forward and go back. Now, if I talk about this particular thing, you know that, okay, I can make my LLM a lot more smarter if I can somehow provide it tools, right? So good thing. Now what happens that we as user, let's say you, me, and everyone, all of those who are learning these things, these users, we can now make our own tools, right? So let's say if I have to search on Google, I can write my own tool. So I'm the first user. But similarly, let's say if you have to use the same functionality, you will be writing your own tool. Pretty good. Then there can be like hundreds or thousands or even millions of people writing the same tool again and again, right? Because searching is something which, if you just think about this, all of us would like to have in our application. So if I'm creating any web application and if I have some chatbot, I would like that, okay, it can search the web or it can at least connect to something, right? So we will be creating the same tool over and over again, right? So let's say if I create a tool which sends an email. So let's say it sends an email. Then surely other people can also use that, right? It is a tool which will be calling Google API, doing some overall authentication, but finally it will be sending the email. So make sure, like surely people will be generating their own tools in a similar manner, and everyone will start creating their own function which they can use that, right? So this was the major thing which was happening. So we have understood few things here. Let's say this LLM, we can provide it tools so that we can make it overall work better, right? And because there are many common tools which all of us will want our LLM or our application to have, right? When you're using the same in code, you will want that, okay, you want these tools. Everyone will be writing these same things, right? So you will be writing the search web tool. I will be writing the search web tool. Millions of others will be writing the search web tool. Okay. Now this is where the problem happens. If so many people are writing same thing again and again and again, right? I think it's a very big problem because in a way we are just kind of violating the very first rule of coding: do not repeat yourself. And millions of times same tools are getting repeated. Now, tomorrow, just think about this. If something very minor changes into the way we define these tools, there will be millions of people making these changes. If, let's say, someone made a mistake, right? He will be trying to solve something which millions of people before him have solved, and he will be writing his own tool from scratch. So, you will see that how so many of people will spend their time in now writing the same tool again and again. And this is where MCP comes to help. MCP, in a very simple sense, says that you can connect to some server, right? You can connect to some server and we will have context there, right? So we will have context there. Now, context can be in form of, let me write that down. Context can be, let's say, your first very important is tools only, which is majorly used. Second, there can be prompts as well. Third, there can be data. I guess it is resources, then data resources. So I will show you what all of them are. But again, just providing the context. So we say that, okay, this LLM which you have, this particular LLM, let me make a copy only. So let me make it smaller. and let's say this particular LLM, you want to connect to something which we say as MCP server, so that you can have and get, right, these tools, etc. You can get the context. This is where we want to make sure that our LLM is getting more and more advanced by using these tools, prompts, or resources, right? So this is the major problem which we are solving, right? MCP server, this we say as MCP client. Now I would just like to make things a little bit more clear here. Like, this is how Anthropic thought about this. But even if, let's say, I just felt that, yes, I would have kind of done the same thing, because they are just making it a client server architecture, something which we have been learning about from, I guess, tech, like start of tech only. Anytime we create any application, we understand that there is a client and it will be hitting our server to get that information, right? So this is where the final word protocol comes into picture. That, again, if your LLM is connecting with some server, there will be some protocol. And like, for example, for API, we have the REST or HTTP protocol through which we can connect, right? So this is where just this protocol comes into picture. So we have understood three words which makes up MCP: model, LLM; context, tool, prompts, resources; protocol, how your LLM will be connecting, how your LLM as a client will be connecting to some server so that it can get all these things. And this is kind of what comprises of your MCP in an application of practical manner. Now, I don't care about the definition. I have just given you the most useful use case and explain you with the same, right? So, with respect to your overall this particular LLM, and I would like to make it a little bit outside, it can connect with the help of an MCP client. I would like to add a plus here. 1 minute. Your LLM with the MCP client can connect to a MCP server via some protocol which is defined, and be able to get access to tools, etc., using the same thing. And this is where you can use overall anything. You don't need to define that again and again. Very first advantage. Second, if some changes are there, then you don't need to worry, because the person who is handling that on the server, he or she will make the change. For example, if Google is providing you an MCP server, or if GitHub is providing you the MCP server, tomorrow they will make sure that they handle all these changes, etc., such that if you want to send the email, you don't have to worry on that. You can just say to your LLM that, hey, please send this email to this person. This is the body, and he will be having all the context. So this is the basic idea. Now, multiple different applications are giving their own MCP servers, so that you can use the tool inside them or any other thing, and make sure that you are able to do stuff on them. So it makes it kind of very helpful that you can just directly do something on an application. You want to commit to Git, just use GitHub MCP server. It will be having a tool for committing. You want to send an email, just connect to GitHub, Google MCP server. It can help you to send an email, like Gmail MCP server. You want to search something on the map, no worries. Just connect to the Google Maps server and you can search for the same and get the information. Now, with that information, your LLM is smart. It got the context. Now it can tell you that, hey, this is the information I got. Now, please, you can just go through this route, go through this lane. I have sent the email. All these things can nicely be done with respect to these things. So this is where this whole part comes and gets connected. And you can now easily use this whole architecture to do whatever you want. So the idea again is very simple. I am just creating some application, creating an AI application using some agentic framework. And if I want to connect it to, say, multiple tools or any other context, I could easily connect it with, let's say, here I am adding any Gmail related, let's say, any MCP. Then I can have tools which are related to my search. So, say, Google search, easily I can do that as well. Then, if I want any other tool related to simply maps or just for GitHub, I can just add that instead of defining them again and again, right? So, that is, I believe, the easiest way of understanding MCP. Now, just let me explain you a little bit on the architecture side as well, and majorly on these terminologies which you will hear a lot, right? So, we have already seen that this is how we have an LLM, and we try to connect our LLM or basically add the functionality of MCP client. And this majorly is known as your MCP host. So your Claude desktop, if I just have to write down here few of the examples. So 1 minute, we can easily add examples like we have say Claude desktop with us. So we can have Claude desktop. Then we can have your Copilot, which we use via VS Code, Copilot. Then similarly, we have any framework for, let's say, any of the framework, QAI, AutoGen, all these frameworks, agentic AI frameworks. And I will show you the same as well, agentic AI. This gets connected to your MCP server. So again, client server architecture. This is the protocol via which again our information and everything gets transmitted, get transported. This can be of two types. So not protocol, protocol. And this can be of two types majorly. So we have the STDIO, standard input output, which is very much how you take anything in your terminal, right? Or it can be on the server as well. So if you want, you can have the same on a server and then it will connect via HTTP plus SSE. So again, you don't have to go a lot deep into that. Just understand that via your local, if it is set up, you can easily connect via standard input output on terminal because this server is started on your local, right? And I will show you the example as well. Whereas if it is on server, then this is HTTP server side events, or let me just search for that quickly. What's the full form? HTTP SSE. Yeah, server sent events. Server sent events. Okay, so this is the full form. You can see the same. And more or less, if you will go on the architecture overview on the official website, you will see the same things, right? MCP specification of MCP, SDKs, development tools. SDK are present for JavaScript, Python, all these languages. And if I just go down, yeah. So MCP host, the AI application that coordinates and manages one or more MCP clients. So we'll see that how in GitHub Copilot on VS Code, we are able to do the same. MCP client, a component that maintains a connection to an MCP server and obtain context from MCP server for the host to use. So one thing more I would like to add here, if I just go back, that this server can have our tools, let's say prompts or some resources, right? So we'll see the same as well. Then next we have MCP server, a program that provides context to MCP clients. When we see the same in action, it will be very much clear. You can see that how again MCP host, it is having multiple clients. One for let's say your Gmail, right? One for your Gmail, one for your maps, and one for your search. So I'm just keeping it to Google only. And then of course we can easily connect to these like servers. They have given it for file system, database, and Sentry. And yes, more or less, you will see the same things here if I scroll down what I have taught you. Data layer and transport layer, right? So defines the communication mechanism. Data layer again is via JSON and everything. Transport layer, STDIO transport and streamable HTTP transport. So what I have shown you, standard input stream for direct process communication between local processes on the same machine, providing optimal performance with no network overhead. Because again, it is on your local, you are just running the same, right? So with that, I believe overall it is a lot more covered that how exactly the architecture also flows. Let me make it in a different color maybe so that you remember this. And we, I believe, are good to use it. Now, if required, you can surely go and learn about them in depth. But from the usage perspective, I believe that we have covered a lots of ground as required, right? So yeah, now let's go and see the same in action. Before that, let us quickly revise. I've created a very good diagram to help you understand all the things. So yeah, this is the diagram. Great. So let's see the same everyone before and after MCP. LLM or agent, like I'm taking agentic AI framework here, or QAI, AutoGen, any of this. It is going to connect to Gmail API, right? So let me just zoom it in here and show you the same via code as well. Normally, what happens, we will be connecting to Gmail API and we will be writing everything for that, right? So, for example, if I show you the code here, pay attention, Gmail tools, let's say. So, don't again go inside the code or anything. I just wanted to show you that how we will have to define it if we are doing it ourselves. So again, via Google APIs, I will be doing some credentials and authentication, everything. I have defined functions or tool for few of the things. So you can see here, get Gmail service, then read emails, create message, send email, draft email. But surely there can be some now, let's say for delete email. So I will have to define it again myself. Then I can have something for def. 1 minute. Pass. Then I can have something for def. Let's say recover email. If something is there, recover email. Then again, I will have to write the same thing down. So I hope you understand what is the problem here. So let's go and see the same in action. Again, Gmail API, positive, super easy to define. Like for real, when I genuinely understood MCP, I found it very difficult because I was using few tools and they were very easily definable and very easy for me to maintain, right? Easily understandable. Yeah, that is the second positive. Negative, duplicate code by everyone or in every project. So if let's say I am using these tools in one of my project, right? Then if in another project I am using the same functionality, again I will define the tool. That is a problem. Second, redundant plus prone to failure or change. So today it is happening that let's say this authorization happens via this function. It requires token path or something. Tomorrow it may require some other additional key. Then it will be a problem. Similarly, this read email, let's say they make some changes in this tomorrow, or say I make a mistake, I don't use this, then I will get the problem. I will be getting an error. So, to avoid these kinds of things, surely it is better if I am able to directly import some MCP service. And third thing, if we genuinely try to understand it, and that is actually what MCP also is. But we are also writing just a wrapper around our APIs, right? So we are not doing anything out of the box, just a wrapper around our APIs we are creating. And with that, I hope now you understand how easy is it to create your own MCP server. You will be defining the tools, the data, the resources. And let me show you that as well. If you will go on, let's say the server concepts, you will see tool, resources, and prompts, just like how I have explained you. And on the client concept, we will have how the same they are connecting, right? Sampling flow and all these things, what all we have to define to call them. So again, the same things in a difficult to understand language. On the server side concept, we will see how we can list all the tool, how we can call the tool, all those information are provided. So if I genuinely am able to define these functions and I wrap them around a MCP server, like how it has been defined on the website, I have defined kind of an MCP server, which I have to maintain, right? So yeah, this is all the things of traditionally doing the things or before MCP. After MCP, now if I think about this, we have an MCP server. Now this Gmail API, this has also been wrapped around MCP server. So again, I will repeat it for me as a programmer, as a software developer. MCP is genuinely just wrapper around APIs, where I know that instead of me defining those tools, those resources, those prompts, Gmail will do it for me. So I will just, instead of not defining them myself again and again, I will just call this particular MCP server or rather add that to my client, and it will be having resources, it will be having all these prompts, it will be having those tools, and I can easily connect. Now let's see the negative and the positive. Positive, easy to access and define. For sure, it is very easy. Let's see the same in example. If I have some Gmail MCP, everyone, then I will be having directly this Gmail MCP client. In this, I can easily just list the tools, right? And say I can get a particular tool by ID. Now it will be having all the documentation, what it requires to be sent. Then my LLM is smart, it is having some brain. So it will be able to form my function call, or rather tool call is a better word now, with those parameters only. And the good thing, we can get tools like this directly. List, email, all these things. I don't have to worry how are they getting used, what is the logic. But I all I want know is that I can easily just connect this MCP client, MCP overall server and get that, right? So scalable, no redundant code. Now, if I have to add some tool, rather I cannot do that because Gmail will handle that for me. And Gmail will have all the tools, which I will show you as well in the Gmail, like on the web, how the Gmail MCP is defined. Similarly, access to all common tools and applications, so you don't have to worry. less prone to failure because now you are just getting this thing out. If you are able to call one of your tool properly, all the other tools will be able to call very easily, right? Coming to negative, little complex initially. You might also think like me that why are we getting so many tools? Why the tools which I don't use? But again, those will never be used. So we can have some way through which we can just reduce those tools. We can just have the tools we want to use. Many servers run locally. So this is also something which happens. If you are, let's say, getting many servers, then they will be running locally, right? So if we are having multiple different things, but normally also it is not a problem because in one application we don't make it that complex overall. And again, we have less idea on implementation, but that is a negative but a goal as well, right? So how it is now maintaining this, how it is now doing this send email, I don't have any idea, right? So it is abstracted, but I believe that is the idea, that is also the aim, right? I don't now have to worry about how to define and do all these things. So this is overall, I guess, the major like shortcomings which you will feel initially, but positives are going to outweigh the negatives very easily. And if I just show you on, let's say, this GitHub, yeah. So this is a Gmail MCP server, everyone. I will show you like with an example how you can add the MCP server as well. But this is a Gmail MCP server. And all these things aside, all the jargon, all the difficult thing aside, at the end of the day, after all the authentication, how to add that, which I will show you, it effectively is having some tools which you can use. Send email, email with attachment, HTML email example, draft email, read email, download attachment, search email, modify email, delete email. I hope you get the point. Now, this thing, this MCP, can be used by any of the AI application, thus making it very easy, maintainable, and scalable for anything. So, if you have a very good application, you want it to be used by masses, used very easily, create an MCP server, maintain it, make sure that all the functionalities you are able to provide via MCP tools, and you will be having a very good thing. So, this is what is making now AI taking a very huge leap, where instead of just being an uh, information provider, LLM or API is becoming something of a doer, like the task or action doer. So earlier, when I was just getting the email and it was on me how to send it, now using this power, I could just define few things, maybe all these required things, and send the same as well. Because my LLM is smart, it will be able to understand the same. So yeah, this is the overall idea, everyone. I hope you do understand the same in depth. And this is all regarding your MCP as well, before and after MCP. And I believe this colorful diagram is pretty helpful. One thing more, if you have your own application, right, then like you will not be able to use MCP because you will have to define your MCP. So if you are experimenting, if you are defining your own tools for some application initially, MCP is not the best way to go because there will be many changes. So not a valid thing to just send out any wrong tools or something. But on the other hand, if you are using some super common application like Gmail, GitHub, Maps, search, surely go forward and like just seriously use MCP server instead of defining it yourself. Okay. So yeah, I hope that was helpful, everyone. We have actually discussed all there is from the application perspective. Try to make it very easy, and this is all what MCP is. Now to show you a few things more, I have defined a tool here in AutoGen. So again, you don't have to worry about many things. This is just a search tool which I have defined, where you can see how I have imported this API, Google Server API wrapper. Then what I have done is I have just called this from my function. So this search web is being used by my agent. So this agent, it is using this search web. I am doing search via Serper. So for those who are not aware, Serper is a awesome way through which you can search world fastest and cheapest Google search API. So you can get the Google result like this. Now, I'm pretty sure that you are thinking very much alike how I'm thinking. If Serper will have an MCP, I think I've opened that somewhere. Yeah. So this is the Serper MCP server. If Serper will be having an MCP, it will be giving you access to these tools. So available tools, Google search images, videos, plays, maps, all these things, right? So it is very easy to understand, made difficult. And frankly speaking, if you will go via the official documentation without this understanding and with that definition, USB-C everything, it is very complex and not the best way of learning it. So this, I believe, the way I have captured it after genuinely now months of using it in real life and in different frameworks. This is just what MCP is. And this thing right here, I believe, is very helpful for you to understand each and everything. Okay. So with that, now let's jump onto VS Code and let me show you an example of how can you add MCP servers to your VS Code and call them via directly VS Code only, because VS Code is having that MCP client through which you can add that. Okay. So yeah, let's see that. Now let me first have a new instance. So this new instance, right? Let me close everything and just maybe have a new file, readme.md, right? So this is empty file is there in the context, everyone. As you can see, let me make it a little bigger because this is where we will be doing all the things now. Easily, you can now create your own MCP server or anything you want. But yes, I guess surely you have got the basic idea clear. Now, let's say if I ask it, what is the time? If I just ask this question, it will try to work, but ideally now it has used some reference, but it is still giving the reference is this one, readme.md. It is saying, hey, I cannot tell you the exact current time. While I know the date is August 1, 2025, I don't have access to real time clock information. If you need the current time in your code, here's how you can do it in Python. So it is saying that, okay, I as an AI, I don't know what the current time is. I have been trained on some data. But if you ask me what is the current time, I don't know that, right? So if you want, you can just run this. Okay. Now, kind of a hello world MCP thing, which I'm showing you, but I believe everything else will also be very easy. So if I now go on one of the websites, so if you search on Google for MCP servers, there are now many servers which are there, right? So we can go on this website. There are many websites which are now hosting and just listing that what are all the servers which you can use, right? So as you can guess, I could have created all these functions and created a server myself, right? Or else I can use one of the provided servers. So let me just search for that MCP servers and time. So time MCP, yeah, this is something which we can use. I think this was the one. Yeah, this was the one, everyone. So again, if you will see, this is one of the server for time. Very easy thing to understand. More or less, it will be running the code which it is showing, right? With time, with the, let's say, any particular parameter, like what is the time zone, etc. This is how it will be running my time MCP server. It will be having a function. Easy thing. Don't make it complex unnecessarily. If you go on tools, let's see the tools. Get current time, convert time. So it is having the same things, right? Now, next question arises, how can I add the same? So since our VS Code, it is a MCP, it is having an MCP client, right? And this kind of Copilot LLM, right? So if you remember, this is what I showed you, right? LLM and MCP client, they are known as MCP host. You can, what you can do to add a particular MCP server, everyone, there are multiple ways. Now let me first show you the GitHub of this particular time MCP server as well. So time MCP GitHub, and we can see the same time MCP server, right? It is having 1 minute. Let me check. Yeah. So we can just click this as well, VS Code UV, VS Code Insiders UV to add that. And it will just add and start the same, like you can start and basically make sure that you are using it. But to do the same in a more developer friendly way, the way you will be doing it, what you can do is just go here, press Command Shift P. It will be Control Shift P in Windows, I believe. Just search for add MCP and you will see this particular thing, add MCP server, right? Then you just select which kind of server it is. So this is going to be a local or command STDO STDO kind of server. So do this, and then it is asking you the command to run. So for that, what we will be doing, pay attention. We will be adding this exact command. So let me show you the command. Where has that went? 1 minute. Yeah, this one UVX and then MCP server type. So I will copy this, go back, UVX MCP server type. Then it will ask me for the name. I can say time MCP server. Simple. Then what I have to do, everyone, it is asking me if I want to make it global, available all across all the workspaces, or let's say workspace available in workspace, this workspace only. Both of them will run locally because it's stdio. Let me do this. And now you see how the same has been added. So it has created a mcp.json.vs code. Here it has created a mcp json. And this exactly is the same which was provided here, right? So time, command, and arguments, right? Now, if I we can see that how our server is running. Let me first show you that as well. I forgot that. Server is running. It is having two tools which we know what they are, right? To use it, I guess we can directly just start a new instance and let me ask this. What time is it? It is using Claude Sonnet 3.5. So now it is working on the same. Saying using work one reference. So okay, it is still not able to do. Let me change and made a smarter one. Maybe let's say 4.0. Then let me open a new one. It is still running. I can add a server. Okay, so okay, no, we have added the server already. Let me just do this. What time is it? Let me ask this. Running, use one reference. It's saying I don't have access to the time. However, I can check the date. But at the same time, it is saying that, okay, this is what you can do to display the current time. The problem is that my Copilot, it is not ever again having the access to this tool which I have added, right? So for the same, what I can do, I can just go on this add context. Now I can select this tool from here, everyone tool. And if you will scroll down, you will see many, many tools. But in the MCP server, time MCP server, we can see the tools which we have in the server, right? So either you can get all tools so that your LLM will make the call on what tool it has to select, depending upon how smart it is, or you can just select the tool which you want. So I can just select get current time. Now, when I ask it, because it is having this particular tool, the context, everything. So model context protocol, model I have, context is there in this get current time, and it is having a stdio protocol through which it is connecting. What is the time? Let me ask this and enter. This time it will use this tool, right? Because it is having the idea that yes, I am having something. See, run get current time MCP server, get current time in specific time zone, input time zone Asia Kolkata. So it is understanding that yes, I have to pass this time zone because the default time zone which we had, everyone, if you remember, it was, I believe, yeah, local time zone was America, New York. So if I just press continue now, it will be using this and get my time exactly what it is, right? So that it is able to give me the same by using the power of MCP. So this is all in a way what it is in your MCP server. Just this thing. You could have defined your own tool with this time zone and everything, have it on a server, run it locally on somewhere, and that is how you can create your own MCP as well. So, and further, you can add more and more tool as well. So, if you just copy these things directly, right? So, normally I've shown you the way you will be adding it, but you can surely go and copy this particular. Let me show you that. So, let's say if I go on some particular Brave search, let's say this one, then we can see that how it is having. We can just copy this npx1 as well, and we will get our tool. And if I go and just search for, let's say, command shift p, add server, we can see that how there are npm package, pip package, docker image, and uv also. It's a replacement of pip for library and environment management. So we are just using uvx because it is very smart and it supports tools overall, like different kind of tool, but yeah, UVX support this thing. So that is how the same is getting run. And we can see that how we are able to easily just get our time. And of course, now if you want, just use any other server, provide the authentication key, etc. And you can send the email as well. And this is what all these LLMs are now doing, where they are providing you the way through which you can connect to these uh, MCP server, and they can be of any application. and your LLM will be a lot smarter, an action taker rather than just an information giver. You can have multiple of these servers. You can add more servers here, right? Let's say stdio or whatever. You have the npm package, you have the pip or docker image as well. So if you will go on the GitHub, you can see that how you can start it inside a docker container as well. So VS Code Docker, and we have multiple of these servers now. If on MCP on, so you have many of these servers which you can use and directly make sure that you are able to do the things you want without defining all those tools or any other resource, or let's say prompt, etc. So this, I hope, is very good introduction and everything regarding MCP. Try to keep it very simple and based on application. And this is, I guess, all the knowledge you need, starting exactly from how or why we need it. That is from model understanding all the way to this diagram, that what was the scenario before and after. And I believe that you will never face the issue in now applying MCP. If you have the client where you can add multiple servers, you are very good to use the same, right? So with that, now I'm pretty sure the same is clear. And yes, so thanks a lot for that, everyone. Do make sure that you comment if you have any doubts on the timestamp, and I will make sure to clear your doubt. Please make sure that you subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to bring so many resources for all of you so that your journey into the world of AI is very, very easy. And in an easily understandable manner, I'm making sure that these things are genuinely clear to you, right? Without any jargons or without any difficulty. Do subscribe to my channel and share this video with as many people as you want, right? And do like the video as well so that algorithm learns and are able to genuinely understand that what is happening. Also, there's a new feature of hype, right? Which you can use to hype this video. So maybe it reaches out to maximum people. I do know that education video, maybe less people will hype that, but I do have a lot of overall belief in my audience. So with that, let me know if you also want a full crash course in depth about MCP. Right, this is where I have just told you and give you the basic idea, or rather, lot more than basic, the full advanced idea. But now, how to create your own MCP server? What is all these things which are being made difficult? Why is this so difficult, Mayank? Can you make it easy for us? All these things I will also be happy to do. But yeah, with that, let's meet in the next video. Do let me know how you like the video, and if you will like like me to explain anything else, and I will be more than happy to do that. So thank you, everyone. Let's meet in the next video. Thank you.